Jeffrey Epstein is dead. But the questions surrounding his life and the people connected to him are not. For years, his name quietly circulated among the wealthy, the powerful, and the well-connected. Then suddenly, the story exploded into public view, revealing allegations of abuse, secrecy, and a justice system many believe failed. But what exactly are the Epstein Files? Where did they come from, and why do they matter so much? This video is not about rumors. It's about documents, court records, investigations, and historical facts, and why transparency matters when power and accountability collide. Welcome to Echo. Here, we unlock history, mystery, and hidden stories. Make sure to like and subscribe for more fascinating stories. Jeffrey Epstein was not a household name for most of his life. Born in 1953 in Brooklyn, New York, Epstein began his career as a teacher before entering the world of finance. Despite lacking traditional credentials, he eventually built connections with influential figures in banking, politics, and elite social circles. By the 1990s, Epstein lived a life of extraordinary wealth: private planes, multiple luxury properties, and access to people at the highest levels of society. Yet his source of wealth remained unclear, a fact that would later raise serious questions. Behind closed doors, law enforcement would eventually allege something far darker. In 2005, police in Palm Beach, Florida began investigating Epstein after reports that he had abused underage girls at his residence. The investigation resulted in multiple witness statements and a federal inquiry. However, in 2008, Epstein entered into a controversial plea deal. Instead of federal prosecution, he pled guilty in Florida state court to lesser charges and served 13 months in a work release program. This deal, which also included immunity for potential co-conspirators, later became one of the most criticized legal agreements in modern U.S. history. At the time, many details were not public. That would change years later. The term Epstein Files does not refer to one single document. It refers to thousands of pages of court filings, depositions, sealed exhibits, emails, flight logs, financial records. Many of these documents emerged through civil lawsuits, particularly cases filed by Epstein's accusers seeking accountability. For years, large portions of these records were sealed by courts, not erased, but hidden from public view. The debate wasn't about guilt or innocence alone, it was about transparency. Courts often sealed documents to protect privacy, prevent defamation, and avoid prejudicing ongoing cases. In Epstein-related cases, judges argued that releasing names without context could unfairly damage reputations. Critics, however, argued that secrecy protected powerful individuals while victims waited decades for answers. This tension, privacy versus public interest, became central to the Epstein Files controversy. In July 2019, Epstein was arrested on federal charges of sex trafficking minors. This time there was no plea deal. The case reignited global attention, scrutiny of past failures, and renewed calls to unseal documents connected to his network. 1 month later, Epstein died in jail. His death was ruled a suicide, but it immediately intensified public distrust and speculation while also ending the criminal case against him. Importantly, his death did not end civil cases or document releases. In the years following Epstein's death, judges ordered gradual unsealing of documents tied to civil litigation. These releases did not determine guilt. They revealed who was mentioned, what witnesses claimed, how legal systems handled complaints. Some names appeared repeatedly. Others appeared once or incidentally. This distinction matters. Being mentioned in a document is not the same as being accused, charged, or proven guilty. Responsible reporting requires that line to be clear. The Epstein Files are not just about one man. They raise larger questions. How does wealth influence justice? Why were warnings ignored for years? How many systems failed simultaneously? Why were victims not believed earlier? This case exposed weaknesses in law enforcement coordination, prosecutorial discretion, institutional accountability. It became a case study in power imbalance. As interest grew, misinformation spread just as fast. Some content online blurred facts with speculation, damaging credibility and re-traumatizing victims. That's why it's essential to rely on verified court records, on-the-record testimony, established journalism. The truth is often more complex and more uncomfortable. Today, investigations connected to Epstein's network continue in civil courts. Survivors have won settlements. Institutions have faced scrutiny. Policies around sealed records are being debated. The Epstein Files have become a symbol not of closure but of unfinished accountability. They remind us that justice delayed is often justice denied. The Epstein Files are crucial not because they promise simple answers, but because they force hard questions. About power, about silence, about who gets protected and who doesn't. Understanding this history isn't about obsession. It's about learning how systems fail so they don't fail again. Because transparency is not revenge. It's prevention. If you found this documentary informative, consider subscribing for more fact-based deep dives into history, power, and accountability.